Yeah, I guess we do. I guess we do.
Just on that one. Straight.
Hi, Joe, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Oh, I can't complain.
That's good.
I come by your office, picked up my packet, you weren't there.
Yeah, that's what, Laura was saying. This is one.
Get the best. I'm coming with here. Love it. Well, you all set, Mr. Table Man?
Oh, yeah, I'm okay. Everything's ready. I'll be ready to take the buggy home
Okay.
with me on Tuesday night. Tuesday night, and I'll be here Wednesday morning. Because I'll be there by myself, nobody else shows. I know you have other,
I'm.
yeah, you're organized.
Hi, Brenda.
How you doing?
Oh,
Good to see you.
Good to see you, right?
Looking good. How you doing, sir?
Yeah.
What do you think about the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office being on television?
Yes.
They don't have that.
Have you been watching? I went to watch some.
No, what, I haven't watched any of it, but,
It's just really interesting to me that
How's it for you?
spend their time doing that after the grand jury report. Did anybody read that?
I read the grand jury report.
The one that just came out.
The one about, the sheriff's department needing a, citizens advisory committee.
Well, there's that one, and then there's one on, you know how they have multiple ones?
Oh, okay, this one's got a multiple.
Humboldt County Behavioral Health, Substance Use, and the Streets. What works? Oh, are they talking about seaside? Sorry.
You can watch me. I was.
No, I didn't.
We're not on record right now.
I can't, I
But,
can't.
They didn't acknowledge you in that?
Too.
CSAID, you know, it's
But
a,
the
Grand jury didn't put that in?
acknowledge what?
That you guys are doing the job that they think ought to be done?
They are.
Oh,
They
okay, cool.
compare, and whoever's writing, I think is doing a really good job. I think that they're, well, am I biased? They just do, lift up what we're doing as far as caring for mental health people.
Yeah.
And they notice the other things that aren't working.
I'll be seeing you more out on the street.
Me,
Mhm.
I need to clone myself.
Well, no, I'm now with Health and Human Services,
Oh,
Rural Outreach and, the home team. I'm gonna have a 20-person caseload, 10 unhoused and 10 housed.
great.
So, yeah.
I'm gonna get my ROI paperwork all ready for you. I get that before I even talk to anybody. I'm like, this is already signed.
Okay. Yeah, you have to carry those with you.
All right.
How did you, like?
I just like your glasses. They're your disguise glasses, right? Oh, who is that
I'm
person?
not here.
I'm not here.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, no, that's fine. I noticed you have, one of the coots, so what did you think about?
Oh,
it?
magic glass.
Great, I was there when you did, and I
It's a
had
hair
my home
keeper out of
one,
the face.
and I was gonna let just board members have a copy.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
cool.
that's what I thought you said,
Mhm.
you got around, but not for someone, so, yeah. it's good.
Yeah, that's right. I've been a part of Caboose, and then taking me to the
And
hospital.
that coat, yeah.
And,
I know, it's, ice cream,
Oh,
but
I utilize the services online,
Yeah.
going to, one in a crisis situation, and one in a needing med stabilization.
yeah.
And both times I used Caboose as a law enforcement, and Caboose really, is amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's ran by the White Bird Clinic that has,
Good.
dental,
Children and
that
families.
has,
Good. I'm learning.
medical,
Still learning a little.
it's not like open door. So they have
Even though-
also.
I thought I knew a lot.
Yeah, we were petitioning at the same time.
Oh, okay, good. You're doing a newbie too.
Yeah,
Were you
But
on
it's
before? I
been
was
good.
on like before
yeah, I have
the
a really great team.
pandemic.
That makes us smart. Yeah, and I already have great stable relationships with everyone.
One more hour, full-time job.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And,
Me too. And I don't know if you know this, but I'm just coming back from maternity leave and I have a 3-year-old and a
And
1-year-old.
then,
So
at the time, I was.
I'm in the world of children in work and out.
And, because
No
of.
job, that was never done.
And the attendance just felt.
You are a
horrendous,
good
like,
person.
it just was,
An amazing.
I felt like we were getting it for
Thank
that.
well, sometimes during the pandemic, some of those died.
And you don't have the opportunity to lead our new,
Where the air blows really cold on you.
Well, it was hard.
really is
I think the
very
county
knowledgeable.
was really having.
Yeah, that's true, kind of.
Very knowledgeable.
They were working on it.
Yeah.
True, it can get stuffy with that.
And the lady who was in charge of.
Good.
Was in the process of.
Basically. Yeah, man. It's funny, without windows, but
The staff person.
and actually, a little bit closer to my house.
And it was.
I'm in Myrtle now, so I'm kind of right in between everything, but
Time she
yeah,
couldn't come to
I
meetings,
always
which
think
is
it's gonna
something
take
she
10 minutes to get to work, but it takes me about 4 minutes, so. Yeah.
No, I tried that, I was actually applying for jobs.
Yeah, I'm inputting a little more than I was, which I actually enjoy.
Are you in person?
So what?
I like mornings in
And
person,
you like
yeah.
it?
I'm just kind of copying what Jet and Martin do.
Lived here 2 years ago, so.
We're in Idaho. Oh, I love Coeur d'Alene. Well, I don't like the politics of Coeur d'Alene, but I thought it was just a beautiful place. Before we retired, my husband and I, went to places we thought we might want to retire. Yeah. We had heard about it, so we went to churches. But it was just a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yeah, it's a resort area.
I just don't know.
Wow.
So anyway, I try to find.
Yeah, sometimes it's in there, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we first got married,
This is what mine feels. Yeah.
So I told them I would give them
like
25 hours a
3 times
week.
you know, I mean,
And come in before 11 AM. But they're taking and then probably by end of November, by the end of November,
Harder and harder.
Faced away from the people who spend years.
Yeah, I did. Did you see the picture?
I guess
Not getting
I
know.
before convenience, but I guess.
when you're in the office, you see all the work, you're like,
You know, I didn't
this, but yet we allow that.
husband is not Catholic.
Well,
He said, and I said, just go, we gotta get out of here.
the covenant findings on that project are.
Yeah.
Somebody
And I'm just like, oh, so I'm just supposed to fight people.
And she said, Marguerite,
But then you hear like,
if that was hard for you, everything here would be hard.
We're getting paid for the bill.
That's what-
It's funny.
When I was there,
Their
they had
property, like,
a and you had a facility manager. And you had
And
the
actually,
regional
people
facility.
around here.
And you had a facility
I'm sorry.
manager. But still, we just go to the regional facility manager. And he did it.
I've never done it, I'm like,
The
oh.
remodel. But they still have a facility manager. So you're paying somebody $75,000 less a year to manage a facility that doesn't exist. Makes no sense, and yet you've got people short
Just
staffed
go
and
to rest, you know?
Yeah.
and yet then you have funding for necessities that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right.
Absolutely my regular.
Oh, I thought I was gonna get, I thought I was in trouble. Yeah. It's not you, something on you. Okay,
Well, it's interesting because like this morning or yesterday.
Alrighty.
Use my clothes.
All right,
Karen comes.
it's 12:15-ish, and I am going to call the monthly meeting of the Behavioral Health Board of Humboldt County, California to order.
And he wasn't acting right, so
I would like to welcome everyone to the meeting. We are an advisory board for the Board of Supervisors. We hold this meeting on the fourth Thursday of each month, and it runs from 12:15 until 2:15 at the latest. We meet in person at 507 F Street in Eureka. It's a public meeting and everyone is invited to attend. Members of the public may participate remotely. The minutes and the agenda can be found by internet searching Humboldt County Behavioral Health Board. We provide time for public comments early in the agenda. Public comments need to be limited to 3 minutes and pertain to matters related to behavioral health. We ask you to make your comments in a respectful manner. Please note this meeting is being recorded, right? And you can go to YouTube to watch meetings when you're bored or want to inform yourself. Please contact me or any of the Behavioral Health Board members if you have any questions about our work as a board. And with that, we can take roll. In the room.
Sean Berger.
Here.
Marguerite Story Baker.
Here.
Bob Doherty.
Here.
Robbie DiCaprio.
Here, I'm here on Zoom.
Kristen Summer.
He is with a patient.
I'm here too. I'm on Zoom today.
Warren Montana.
Here.
Natalie Arroyo. Tim Doty.
Here.
Debbie Hartridge.
Here on Zoom.
Annette Kellerman.
I am here.
Vern Price.
Present.
Oscar Bowen.
All right, and we do have a quorum, yay. Then we'll start with in the room, introduction of staff. Starting with that.
Good afternoon, Emmy Boxler Rogers, Behavioral Health Director. Hi, I'm Kaylee Emery. I'm the Deputy Branch Director for Children's Behavioral Health. I've been to this meeting before as the QIC, but now I'm in a new role. Nice to be here.
Yes.
I'm Jack Brazil. I'm one of the Deputy Directors for Behavioral Health.
I'm Alex Childers. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a peer coach supporting the Humboldt County Transition Aid Youth Collaboration after Transition Aid Youth Division.
Good afternoon, I'm Laurel Johnson. I'm an analyst in DAT administration.
I'm Alvin Jackie, Deputy Director of Behavioral Health.
And to Zoom.
My name is Danette Kellerman. I'm a social worker with conflict control.
Hi, this is Sharon Wolf. I'm the DHHS legislative analyst. Good to see everybody.
Kirsten Sumner, I'm a social worker.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sonia Levy Boyd. I use she, her pronouns. I supervise the Humboldt County Transition Age Youth Collaboration and the peer coaches at the Tay Division.
Rafael DiCaprio, Substance Use Navigator.
And so for guests in the room, Connie's here. Hey, Connie Stewart. Hi. Guests. There we go.
My name is Eric Thompson. I was on the board for a while recently. Just started coming back.
And are there any guests online on Zoom?
Connie Stewart, guest. Hi from Cal Poly Humboldt.
Sorry to interrupt. Hi, everybody. David Eichenbaum. I'm with HCHC. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi there, Christine Messenger, DHHS Communications.
All right. I think that's everyone. This time, are there any adjustments to the agenda? Hearing none, we will move forward. This is the time for public comments. Do we have any public comments in the room? Eric.
I keep harping on this when it comes to meetings, and it's kind of unbothersome, so I thought I'd mention it. And that is, I think we should rename community engagement, community outreach. It seems to be more directly relating to the group of us at mental health that are reaching out to the community. And I like the idea that kind of our effort to different in the community and reach out. So I'd like to make that an opportunity that we can come up with. I think mental health is, with the idea of community engagement, it's working out really well as far as efforts I've seen, like for example, with Recovery Happens and events like that. And I would encourage this group, the board, and mental health or behavioral health in general, to really have a program at every level where we're reaching out to the public, because it's not really getting done. I spend a lot of time in Kinderville, and I go by the Joyful Healer where a lot of homeless mentally ill people hang out, and they hardly know anything about what mental health does or the opportunities that they create. So I'm convinced that more effort needs to be made to reach out to the community. Thanks.
Thanks, Sarah. Any other public comments online? Alrighty. We'll move ahead to action items. Approval of the minutes from 5/23/24 meeting. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion second. Is there any corrections or changes? Take the vote. All in favor of approving the minutes from 5/23/24 as submitted? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, that is done. Good job. Communications. This is the time when behavioral health board members have a time to communicate and tell us all the stuff that's going on that you want to know, that you want to share. La, la, la. And we'll start. Sorry.
So my name is Danette Kellerman, and since you mentioned Recovery Happens, I just wanted to say I'm I'm honored to say that we are going to be having it again this year, September 7th at Sequoia Park. Anyone that wants to, or not anyone, any entity that serves mental health at any level, whether it be substance abuse, mental health challenges, anything that you're recovering from. If you'd like to table up at the event, we are having a free barbecue and chili cook-off. And if you'd like to be supportive, you can donate a raffle prize for the raffle that helps to pay for the park. Thank you.
Just wanted to share, Vern brought these to our executive committee, and it's called the Crisis Assistance Helping Out the Streets from Eugene. And Emmy Wog was there saying they took a lot of ideas from them, an excellent program for reaching out. So I have my own 3 more available for board members. And then the other thing, the Behavioral Health Services card has everything handed out to many people you can. To know how to reach problems, give them that. That's all.
Good, thank you.
We should make sure Eric has some of those.
Yeah, that was great.
Awesome.
Oh, good idea, Lord, so smart.
Excellent, thank you.
May I say one more thing? Sorry. I just want to tell you guys, I know that it's been mentioned a lot recently about and hopefully getting SOHUM involved in mental health advisory or the meetings. Anyway, so there's a new navigator out there, and she's she just started like 2 days ago at Jared Phelps, and so she's going to be joining us soon. Her name is Carrie, and so I'm excited.
The Behavioral Health Board will be presenting or be tabling at the 7th Annual Block Parties Service Fair, Wednesday, July 24th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I will definitely be there if anyone else would like to attend and table with the Behavioral Health Board. I've got reservations for 2, so.
Nice.
And I would definitely like to get up with you and table at your event also.
Absolutely, thank you.
I have been in touch with Red Cross Pharmacy in Old Town on 5th Street. They are reopening and taking prescriptions now.
Oh, nice.
So if you have any of your people that you know, any participants or clients, please let them know that Red Cross Pharmacy is open again. They are doing prescriptions and they do deliver.
Nice, that's awesome. Beautiful.
Have anything, Sean?
Not yet.
Okay.
I think I'm good.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's just go around Bob.
Hi, everybody, Bob Doherty. I've accepted a co-chair position with the VA Native Veterans Coalition. We're hooked up with United Indian Health Services, and there's a couple of already workshops planned. There's one going on at College of the Redwoods coming up. And we're specifically addressing, among other things, an uptick in young Native veteran suicide. So, very represent nation's finest. We deal with our own problems there. But as a veteran community, it's a concern. So, very happy to be part of that. And the other thing, individually, I've been watching a lot, probably more than is good for me, of Access Humboldt. I am aghast at the diplomacy that I see. These meetings, it's just, I'm worried.
Which meetings, Bob?
Board of Soups, City Council,
You had to say that.
and I'm just surprised, it's like, these people, they do really well in representing, the issues, what's going on in the county, what I see, what I've heard, and just, I'm pleased.
Agreed?
Yeah, at the last substance use disorder dual recovery committee, we talked a little bit about Recovery Happens, and the director of SUD services said that she'd be there and there'd be a county table. Did we want to have a board thing as part of that county table, or has that been talked about? Or did you say that you were gonna go to it?
Which one is it?
The Recovery Happens on September
I
7th.
would like to, as the Behavioral Health Board, table at that event.
Okay, are you thinking of combining it with the,
No,
with the
ma'am,
county?
having the Behavioral Health Board have their own table.
Oh,
When
okay.
we have our own table, we have our own tablecloth.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
So, I mean, we're solo in this.
I'm planning on going.
Okay.
And I guess I would want to say that, the more board members that can go to that, really the better. At least before the pandemic, when I was on the board before, hardly any board members ever came to it except me and Eric at the time, he was on the board too. So it's really important to support that part of behavioral health too. We have less money and less resources in some ways, but we certainly have plenty of clients and a lot of need. So I think, and many clients come to that event. It isn't, it's not just an event that's like people working in the field. It's many clients at all stages. I mean, I talked to somebody last time I went who said she had like 3 days clean, so it's important for them to see people like us all, I think. So that's what I wanted to say.
Thanks. No.
Sure, well, I just drove back from Ashland, sorry, it's a little bit late. I got to see the dams on the Klamath being taken down. I'm a governor's appointee to the board of the organization that's a nonprofit, the Klamath River Renewal Corporation, taking out those dams. And it was interesting to hear during our board meeting the profound impact on the mental, spiritual, physical health that it's already having for particularly tribal members throughout the basin. It was really cool to be reminded of that, of how just it's the biggest environmental justice project as far as scale of dam removal, at least that the nation has ever seen. So that's happening right in our own just a couple counties away, but feels like we're all a part of it. Humboldt County is a signatory to that agreement. Anyway, it's really exciting and moving and makes me feel hopeful because there's a lot of challenging stuff right now, and it's nice to see those big projects happening too. So yeah, it was big. I was up there crying like a baby just watching the construction work happen, and it's really, really cool. So many people worked so hard for that. And I just have the privilege of being here in this like little tiny piece of the puzzle, but the very procedural things. Sometimes it's like you do a lot of procedural things and you think you don't always get to see the impact of your actions. And then so this is like one visual cool impact. So I'm feeling really enlivened by that. And it's not really with my county hat on, but kind of, sort of. So let's see, we passed our budget at yesterday's, whenever it was, Tuesday's board meeting. And I'm able to come for a little bit of that event. So I'll join you kind of right at the end, if that's okay, or maybe just as an attendee, but I'll help out where I can. There were other things I was going to report out on, but now they're slipping my mind, so it's okay.
We can get that.
Yeah, thanks.
Let's go online. That's Raphael, do you have anything to say or?
Yeah, just to piggyback on what's already been said, we're looking forward to Recovery Happens, and it's tabling season. So a lot of us are going to be tabling. I did send out an email today to our leadership and to some of our partners regarding Overdose Awareness Day, which is August 31st. I've been in contact with some other Providence hospitals and some Suns, and they're planning to do a huge event for this day. So I would like to do a huge event as well, maybe on campus or maybe on campus at Open Door. I don't know, but we certainly are in talks of it. So we're looking forward for that to happen. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. Debbie, you have anything?
No, I can't think of anything right now. Thanks, Laura.
Go Nami. Kristen, do you have anything?
Nothing that I can think of right now, actually. Yeah.
It's all good. Anybody else there? I think that's everything. Well, I would like to say I'm excited. We have 14 people on our board now. We have 5 people in one fell swoop. That's pretty awesome. I'm so grateful for all of our new members. I don't know if anybody's seen the grand jury report, Humboldt County Behavioral Health Substance Use and the Streets report that came out. On here it says released June 28th, which hasn't happened yet, but if you haven't read it, if you haven't seen it, go find it and read it. It has some really great information. I think it's well written and is positive and looking at what works and supporting that. So of course it mentions my team and and that works.
And you by name?
No.
Oh.
No. I also just wanted to say that we, at our last executive board meeting, we have some presentations for future meetings and we're gonna kind of plan it out a little bit. So I'm just gonna kind of give an update of what we have so far, and it's tentative, but we'll have Kaylee Emery's gonna do a children's behavioral health update in July. Deanna Bay SUD overview in October. Paul's gonna do crisis services overview in January, and Jack adult services overview in April. And so we're sort of spreading that the reports from directors out and then fill in with other things. So if you have anything that you want to get on the agenda, please make sure to get it to myself or Tim. And we'll see about getting it on the agenda. I think that's all I have. Does anybody think of anything else?
So there's nothing on the agenda for September?
No, we do have something on
I
the
didn't
agenda
hear
for
you.
September. But I'll find my notes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I thought if you didn't have anything, it'd be good to have something about substance use services, since that's our month. Anyway. Our month. See how identified I am with this?
I'm excited.
I did think of one more thing, which is, I don't want to step on Emmy's toes though, but it's about the being able to visit the new facility here in Eureka, the 10-bed facility that is going to be opening soon. It's a really cool opportunity to thank Senator McGuire for his help in that, and to look at, what that facility is going to look like. And already it's come along so much since the visit we got to do. But it's great to see that quick progress happening now, and it's like really feels really tangible.
Is there gonna be an open house for board members to come and visit or not?
I think they're planning an open house just more generally, which would include anyone, but I don't know, Jack, if they've talked any more about a date for that?
Not yet. We have a meeting with them tomorrow.
Okay.
With the Willow Glen folks, and that's sort of the energy that I have, but I think it was late July.
We'll definitely share that. Oh, yeah.
So that is the facility on M and seven.
Beautiful.
Yep.
It's really coming along.
Awesome.
We do have a new patient's rights advocate. I would like to have her formally introduced to the board. And I would really like to work as a board closer with our patient's rights advocate as we have not in the past.
So do you want to invite that person to do?
I have already spoken with her about an invitation. Would you like for me to formally invite her?
I can invite her. She
Okay.
will need to work with her schedule because
Okay.
because
I
she's
understand.
part of, yeah, anyway. But yes, absolutely, my plan is to have her come when she's able.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Moving on from communications, discussion items, we have a second vice chair vacancy. So we were supposed to be voting on that. What, this month? Oops, it's okay.
And we have a quorum.
We do, but we have to submit before. So if anyone is interested in being a second vice chair, please send me an email now, sooner than that.
I just want to be in support of that. If you go to the executive committee, you're on the inside. You get the scoops, okay? And we meet on the first Wednesday at each month at 12:15. Am I right?
You are right.
Okay, and that address, what's the address for that facility? I always forget.
824 Harris.
Way to go. And you don't even have to agree to be a member of that committee, but I'm kind of joking around, but I really urge you to think about that. Because we make the decisions about what's gonna be on the agenda and things, and we wrestle with those things, and we would love to have other people be a part of that, visit be a part.
Can you explain what the second vice chair does?
Yeah, very little. It's the easiest job. I'm the vice chair, I do whatever the chair tells me to do. And the second vice does whatever I tell them to do, no.
There is a list of duties.
Yeah.
If you'll look at the bylaws, I do believe it's in there, what the duties are.
Are you considering taking nominations now, or is it self-nominated only, or? I didn't talk about it beforehand, but I was gonna suggest Sean. I just was moved by your story about your family and, you know, and I'm wondering if you had interest.
Yeah, we'll do it. I can come and visit us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
All right, so we're gonna invite Sean to the next meeting, which is the 3rd, 12:15. Awesome.
It's sort of like running for office where sometimes someone nominating you helps. I don't know.
Oh, Natalie's dangerous. All right, anybody else send me an email or Tim? And with that, we're now at an exciting time for a presentation from Connie Stewart, who will be presenting from Zoom. You're up, Connie. Hope you're still there.
Hi there, everyone. And, my apologies for being reading from Fairbanks, Alaska, where the sun sets at 12:43 tonight and rises again at 3:24. So it's very fun to be here. It's very hard to go to bed. So I hope that this is more, but that's my way of apologizing for not being face to face with all of you here. I also want to apologize if my internet starts to go out. I'm in the hotel right now. If it starts to go out, I'll turn off my screen and keep talking. I really want this to be conversational, so I answer any of your questions or concerns. As you all know, the part of the reason I'm here on the agenda is because of the discussion and concern around Cal Poly's position on camping on campus. And there is a piece of legislation which is stalled at the state level to have every college campus allow camping. Very few currently do, partially because of sanitation and safety and other issues that are common to a lot of agencies, including the county that doesn't actually allow it in their parking lots either. But what I just wanted to be clear that before we began ticketing people, we did offer them a whole lot of other solutions, including subsidized housing in a variety of locations. We offered to help them move to suitable places where there was parking allowed, including the KOA. We also worked closely with Connie Back to make sure that they were offered services as well. So it wasn't just oh, you're out of here, goodbye. We had a process for doing it. Many of the people there did not want to be in our student housing because in some cases they had animals, or in other cases they had difficulty accepting the rules that are required in the student housing. And so that's why they chose to have that alternative housing. Just so you know, we did have housing available for all students. We had about 300 spaces that we could have put students in last year, and we are, I think everybody who's been on the highway has seen the two big cranes and knows that we're building additional housing to allow for the university to grow. We hope the university will grow over the next few years. We've been growing at about 4% a year, and we hope that will continue. Many of the Northern California schools are struggling with enrollment, and schools, I'm actually here at a conference with all the Western land grant universities, and they are all struggling with enrollment as students choose, well, as there's less students in the schools, and also as students choose to go into the trades rather than come to college. So anyway, I'm happy to answer any more questions about that. I also just wanted to talk to you about the services that we're offering and some of the other stuff that we're doing around behavioral health. We have hired a lot more counselors, and we also have behavioral health available 24 hours a day for students. We have this year, we're very excited because we actually have summer behavioral health counseling available. This is something we've wanted to do, so we now have year-round counseling available. We've put a lot of energy into hiring counselors that look like the demographics of our school, so that folks can, if they choose, see a counselor who from their same culture. And that's really critically important. To the demographics have always not been available for people to be able to see who they'd like to be able to see. And then so we've done some focused hiring. We have group counseling as well as individual counseling, and we do partner with the community if a student needs more help and services than we can offer at the university, and work hard to get them connected to resources also in the community. The other thing I should mention is that we have counselors that have liaisons to all of our cultural centers as well, so that there's more direct contact between the cultural centers and a behavioral health specialist to anticipate needs or issues or crises that might come up, and to be able to get feedback on services or ways that we can improve services. So that's a little bit about the about what we offer. I think every campus in the system, to all 23 campuses, recognize that it is incredibly important to have basic needs and behavioral health services. And so we've been emphasizing and putting more resources in there with funding. It's a critical piece in order to get students to be able to graduate and be successful at college. Why don't I pause there and ask if there's any questions there before I also talk about some of the other exciting things we're working on.
I have a question. This is Laura. So you have a new chief of police, but it's not the title of the person. And
Yeah.
I don't remember the title, but I found it quite enjoyable. Can you tell us? Thanks.
Yeah, I did too. And I haven't actually been, I mean, first of all, I'm so pleased that we were able to hire someone local too. And you know, and also somebody who was, you know, understands and knows the region and the community and our students, and was a graduate too as well. So that's wonderful. And although I haven't actually connected yet because I haven't been in town, I also have to tell you that when I read the press release and he mentioned R.W. Hicks, who was incredibly important to me as a student and one of the first people I met when I came up here in 1984 to go to school, you know, that just warmed my heart too as well. I had the honor of, for about 9 years on campus, being located in RW's office after he moved out and retired. The California Center for Rural Policy took over that building, and RW was always came out of his office and met you at the bus stop to ask you how you were doing and make sure that you were okay. And so I have a feeling that the new chief of police understands the importance of interaction and connection, and that's why the title's been changed.
But do you know what the title is?
You know what? I can Google as fast as I can to see if I can find it.
Yeah, it's Associate Vice President of Safety and Community Wellbeing.
I love that.
It's easy to forget that.
Well, I love the community well-being is a lovely twist on that job, so.
He's gonna be great.
And that's a perfect person for that
Yeah,
position.
for anyone who knows Greg Allen, that's the perfect title for chief of police. Is actually the wrong title for him because he has no ego whatsoever.
Well, and also associate vice president is an important part of that title too.
Yeah.
That. So, yeah. Deb.
Can I just mention that he was on the NAMI Humboldt County's panel that we did last fall as one of the speakers for our day-long conference that we did on multiculturalism and behavioral health. And he was great.
I have a question.
Well, I will be sure to send him all your well wishes and invite him to join you guys. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Connie. I have a question.
I think I saw Natalie's hand up.
Yeah, I think we're having a little bit of a time delay, but it's no biggie. It's not about housing, but it is about you know, mental health resources and how the university is responding. I think, you know, I'm faculty also, very, very, very part-time faculty, but I've definitely you know, heard from a lot of current and former students that, you know, the impact of the closure of campus on them and their health. And I wondered if you could speak to that a little bit. And I'm urging them to, you know, avail themselves of the resources that are available on campus and through campus. But I think there's this more abstract impact that I'm wondering yeah, how's the university looking at that and responding to it on an ongoing basis?
Yeah, it's certainly, I think that was also one of the reasons we wanted to make sure to have a complement of mental health services available this summer in particular, and get them in. We've also connected with some service providers to offer both group care and individual care. The impact was hard on students, it was hard on faculty, it was hard on administration. One of the critical things was having the graduations. That was an incredibly healing and amazing, amazing challenge for those who were putting it together. There was just so much gratefulness from not only the students that participated, but the families. And actually, there's been a lot of lobbying about keeping the graduation small for in the future, because folks felt so much more connected in the smaller environment. So, certainly part of graduation was at Blue Lake, and I think we'll continue to have graduations with Blue Lake. And I'll talk about the students who didn't graduate in a second, but let me tell you, one of my favorite stories was that the elders from Blue Lake Rancheria shook every graduate's hand for people who graduated there. And it was really important to them. And it was really important, I think, to the students and their families too. So, that was part of the healing. We are, like I said, I think divisions are also hosting a series of meetings. And I know that Rosamel and his team in the diversity, equity and inclusion office are also holding some listening sessions, and the library is holding some listening sessions as well. A lot of those students, of course, went home for the summer. And when, they come back, I know that folks are reaching out to them now over the summer, just to encourage them to come back, to assure them that we hope to keep the campus open, and go back into session face to face, because of course that's the concern of what's going to happen in the spring.
Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. It was great.
I have,
okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so my first question, I'm just curious, you mentioned that some students were unwilling to follow the housing rules, and that's the reason that they weren't able to get into student housing. One of the examples you gave is like not being able to bring animals, for instance. I'm curious, were there any other housing rules that came up as barriers for people to get into student housing?
I think, I honestly don't think I should speak for the barriers. I mean, I think that was why we brought DHHS in, so folks could talk to actual service providers about what their barriers were, or their concerns. We attempted to give them housing. I don't want to speak for people on their personal barriers. But because that's they're individuals. So, what we tried to do is selectively, individually offer them services, but explain to them that for a whole variety of reasons, we did not have the infrastructure for them to stay in a parking lot. We were also, I'll just say, we were also dealing with, some female students who were concerned that they had to go through the campground on their way to class, and had some safety concerns as well. So, like I said, we tried to deal with each an individual, and ultimately in the end, I think there was only one student that got one ticket, and the rest were able to relocate.
Okay, I got a second question, but I'm gonna think more about it, so I'll come back to it later.
Can I ask a question, Connie? It's me. Hi.
Oh, sure.
I might have missed what you were saying, but I wasn't quite sure. You referenced students returning in the spring, but is the campus open in the fall for students in person?
I'm sorry, I meant fall.
Okay, okay. Thank you for that.
Oh, good.
Sorry, I meant fall.
Okay.
Deb has her hand up too. Laura, it might be better for you to call on people.
Yeah, maybe.
Than me, because I can't see who in the room has questions.
So is it my turn for a question? So Connie, I'm curious about staffing for behavioral health support, which I believe you do have a psychiatrist on staff. Is that still true? So you have like one psychiatrist, which is great. And then the other staff that deal with the behavioral health needs would be some like higher level practitioners, perhaps too, like nurse practitioners, that kind of thing. And oh gosh, there was one other thing. Oh, I know. And I'm also curious about are you going to talk a little bit maybe about the disabled students program on campus too, which I think offers sort of academic support to students with various disabilities, including mental health disabilities. Just kind of curious about how that all fits together.
So I want to talk about a couple of other things too, and I certainly thank you, Debbie, for the cue for that. Yeah, we do have various other licensed professionals that we're hiring too, and remind me to talk about some of the behavioral health degrees we're working on for 2025 as well.
Oh, great.
But in addition to the programs that we have for disability students, we are working really hard on doing an assessment of the entire campus on areas that need to change in order to meet better standards for folks with that have ADA compliance issues. We're also working very hard on our signage issues, and we're going to get those name tags and those signs up in Braille as well for students to make sure that our facilities are meeting accessibility requirements. And I've purchased a communication software package that anybody in the school can use, anybody with a Humboldt.edu that has ADA compliant communication stuff. So we are trying to get people away from using PDFs that folks can't read. Debbie, as you mentioned, not all of this is part of mental health and social services because we can't have the stress of people not being able to participate easily in their education process because of an ability issue. So there are a lot of resources. There's a new signage committee working right now. Like I said, we've bought new equipment so that we can deal with some sight impaired issues. And I'm very excited. I have a staffer who's on that committee right now. If you guys are ready, I'll just briefly talk about the provost whose degree is actually in behavioral health is looking at what new degrees we're going to have on campus. And so there is a committee working on how we boost up health degrees. And also they're emphasizing that we really need to work on ease of getting people who are graduating to licensure in the College of Professional Studies. So that hasn't been an emphasis in the past. but we will be emphasizing that. And so we're also going to be working with the community to make sure they can get their hours so they can get eased to licensure.
We have a question for you.
I have a couple of questions. First of all, when you were talking about the housing for people, and said that some people have dogs and you don't allow them there, were any of them encouraged to get their certification for mental health dogs? And then I'd like to, sometimes as people in the community, we have expectations of people. We throw around the wording of meeting people where they're at a lot in all arenas in life. And reality is that we that work with people have expectations that we're not meeting them where they're at. We're meeting them where we're at. So I'd like to encourage people to start thinking about how our expectations are not what people can do. And so, like, if we're gonna get into meeting people where they're at, sometimes we have to stretch that thought process. I hope I said that right.
No, I completely agree. And as I said, we worked with each person individually to find them alternative housing. What we weren't going to do is have them in our parking lots. So that did not mean that we told them, oh, it's up to you. Go. As I said earlier, we worked with them, we brought them services, but what we couldn't do was have them parking in an area that didn't have bathrooms or infrastructures. And so each individual was worked with, and in the end, we even, in some cases, when they made the decision on where they wanted to go, we actually financially helped them get there as well. So, and just on a personal note, I totally and completely have been an advocate for housing for all. But that doesn't mean that every housing situation works out. So that's why I'm focused on, you have to work with the individual to figure out a solution.
Thanks.
Now, since you mentioned earlier that some of the circumstances you didn't feel comfortable speaking to or characterizing, and there were referrals to DHHS, I'm wondering if there are any staff in the room who could help out by characterizing that, or was that different individuals working with them? Or just in keeping with your question, I'm interested what any of the other barriers were besides pets. I mean, I think it's useful to us to understand what those barriers consist of, because we're the behavioral health work.
Not just the time that they're there, but also future reference.
Sure.
So we don't make the same mistakes twice.
Yeah, I think that's helpful. Is there anyone else who could weigh in?
I don't have the information, or I'm not sure what the engagement with DHHS is that you're referencing, Connie, I'm sorry.
Oh, we just had your housing folks go over. Like I said, what I didn't want to do is characterize, like in some cases there might have been substance use issues. Like I said, we addressed them. But I mean, I don't want to over characterize what each individual, we treated them as individuals.
Is there any other questions? Another question?
Yeah, okay, I think that was my question. So this is kind of like a more general question. I'd like to share just a little piece of my story if I can to illustrate it. So when I was studying foster care, I was also a student at Humboldt. staying at the dorms on campus. And the residence life handbook is a really useful resource. I actually really love that about housing on campus. But I remember reading through it, there's a section that addresses behavioral health needs such as self-harm and suicide. And there's a paragraph that I remember reading. I checked to see if it was still there from the time that I lived on campus. It is. It is a follow-up meeting with the resident and an RLC residence life coordinator may be scheduled after any self-harm related incidents occur to help the resident establish a behavior plan. Depending on the impact of these events on the community, the possibility of removal from the residence halls will also be discussed. And so the impact that like this policy had on me personally was thinking that I could be potentially houseless if I was removed and being in foster care. And as a result of sort of that fear, I actually actively avoided telling anybody about my thoughts of self-harm or suicide, which is ultimately more detrimental to my mental health in the long run. So that's a piece of my story. I'm not saying the university is responsible for that in any way. There are deeper causes, of course. But I'm hearing that like you are encouraging students to seek resources and support to talk about mental health. And I'm also hearing that when a residence coordinator learns of suicide or self-harm incidents, students could very well be at risk of losing their housing. And so I'm just curious, how does the university reconcile those two things?
Great question.
Well, first of all, let me just say I'm sorry to hear about your story, and let me say I am not in a position to answer that, but I certainly am going to bring that back immediately to the VP and tell her about that. I think the other issue is that if there is wraparound care, and I'm emotionally reacting to is the feeling that you would be houseless because of a mental health issue. And as I said, I've known the policy and the process is that we work to get a student in a safe space when that has happened. But if that's not being articulated to the students, and that we wouldn't leave you homeless or houseless, but we might put you in a place that you agreed was safer, then I need to go work with the VP on that issue. And maybe it's hard for me to see who was the actual speaker, but if you wouldn't mind, I'd love also to be able to interconnect you. I think it was somebody from Tay. It sounds like we should have a conversation. In my personal work with youth, and I ran a youth program for a long time, I've been in a situation where we had to work with somebody to get them to safe housing. So like I said, please, if you don't mind, I'd love to take that story back. I'd love to take that book back. And let's see if we can do something about that.
My name's Alice Children. I'll contact you. I'm happy to talk more one-on-one. I'm also happy to connect you to our youth advocacy board. Since a lot of our students are kind of in the California Humboldt general age range. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for being a part of our meeting, Connie. I really appreciate what you had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. So there's only one other thing I'd love to cover I've got time with you all, and that is the Behavioral Health Triage Center. And just give you a little update. And Emmy, you please chime in. What's happening around here is, of course, the cost of everything is going up. And I think you all know what happened with the county jail situation, and having to give back that grant. And we're desperately trying to make sure that doesn't happen to us. We have picked Boulder and Associates as our architect for those of you who aren't familiar with their work, they are doing other work in the community, and they work with Providence on projects. But they are the architectural firm that helped build Be Well in Orange County. And I think, we went to Orange County with Emmy and Ruby and Connie Beck and Michelle Stevens and Martha Shanahan, and I'm forgetting some others folks. Paul, of course. And I think, we'd be happy to organize more trips for folks. If you, I know I want to do a trip and invite some of the Tay folks who've been helping us. And it'd be great to have some of you also join us to go see that facility. I think that I could say we were all shocked at how beautiful the facility was. And of course, when we met with the architects, we were a little concerned it was a little over the top. And one of the architects said to us, this is one of the worst days in a person and a family's life when they have to be admitted to this facility. And we purposely wanted it to look like the Sheridan Grand. And be a place that they wanted to check in and be a part of. And Mad River Hospital, Doug was not able to come with us, Doug Shaw, but when he heard that, he said, oh, these are the people we want to build this facility or help us build this facility. So we met with them. As you know, like I said, prices have been going through the roof. And I said to him, I don't want you to design a Cadillac that we can't afford. We don't need that kind of heartache. And so we need a cost estimator along with us for as we design the building. And the response back was, you honestly should not even start this process unless you have $20 million. We have a incredibly generous donation from the County of Humboldt of 2.6 million. And we have a state grant for 12.3 million, almost 12.4 million. And so we only had 15 million. So I am out furiously fundraising in order for us to move forward with this. I can't tell you I'm completely successful, but I think I've identified 4 million extra dollars. I hope to be able to tell everybody for certain I'll have that. And so I think that people are feeling like, well, if we have 4 million, we can probably raise the other million and move forward. And so that is really, really good news. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to start moving forward by the end of July.
And what was the projected completion date of that?
I think needs to be done before 2027.
Gotcha.
And I recognize that it's none too soon. Let me remind you that will be 12 crisis stabilization bed units, 6 for adults, 6 for children and youth, 9 mental health crisis residential beds, 10 crisis residential beds for those with dual diagnosis or substance use disorder and mental health, and 12 sobering cots. So, Emmy, please speak up, and if you want to say anything else about that project.
I think you covered it really, really well, Connie. I mean, just to clarify, the grant and the current work went to Mad River Community Hospital, and so that's where this stage of the process lives. County Behavioral Health is a partner and will jump in around the service provision and contracting for services once the facility is built. And so, we've been involved, as Connie has stated, in just the early understanding of what kind of facility will best serve our community and being able to see what other counties have done, including Orange County, and just had really good, partnership with Mad River and Connie and others around this project. So yeah, fingers crossed that it continues moving in the direction that you're working, Connie, and thank you for all your efforts around that.
Yeah. So, thanks, Emmy. I honestly think that this is, as I go into the twilight of my career, this is gonna be my drop mic project. If I can get this over the hill.
You got this. 1 million, you can do it, no problem.
Well, it's still 5 million, but we're getting close. I have to say that it's the state in our conversations has said, we can't believe how supportive your community is. The city of Arcata is incredibly supportive. It's amazing to have, a private hospital donate the land for it. And honestly, I mean, it's more than that. When and if hopefully Mad River signs that contract, they are ultimately responsible for delivering this facility, regardless of the cost. So that is why we're working so hard to make sure that the Shaw family is comfortable with signing up for that agreement.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Connie. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us.
So thank you guys thank you for having me.
Yay. Thanks so much. All right. That was awesome. Gonna move on to reports. Connie Beck's not here. Got anything? Nope. World's good. Paul? You got anything? Nope. Emmy, yay.
Hi, let's see. I guess I'll just acknowledge, as Natalie was saying and Connie was saying, we have some really amazing projects happening. The Crisis Residential Treatment Facility. We did do a visit there recently with Senator McGuire, who allocated or helped secure some funding for us for that. And I think that should be open. We're looking at August, hopefully. We had a couple delays, but I think that August is pretty safe. Behavioral Health Crisis Trio Center has been an amazing partnership. I do want to just, I guess a couple things. Let me just start with a more positive piece. So DHHS in general and all the branches, behavioral health included, are currently working on strategic planning, and I'm super excited about that. We're working to just kind of shore up how do we operate as a branch, kind of under the umbrella of DHHS and all the ways that matters to us. And some of the things that we're talking about, and this is a plan that will be developed and then certainly shared with this board, are like, how are we fiscally solvent? How do we address our fiscal issues? How do we provide high quality services that are accessible and culturally responsive? How do we kind of have accountability and use data and other measures to track our work, have good programming? I'm really looking to kind of build in the element of how do we better educate our community, and how do we share information with our community, and how do we more directly address stigma and discrimination, like as part of our role within our community. So those are some of the things we're talking about, and we'll be, really digging in to look at what are those buckets, what are the goals, what are the strategies, how do we hold ourselves accountable, and then we'll share that out with the community in this group in particular. We are continuing to really grapple with budget issues, and as Natalie said, the budget was passed, and behavioral health is one of the branches that carries a deficit, and is continuing to have to really look at how are we gonna account for that? How are we gonna make changes and decrease spending and increase revenue in ways that are fiscally responsible and impactful? one of the things that we're really challenged with right now, and I think we've talked about this in this meeting, but if not, I'll certainly say it again, is through part of the CalAIM rollout and payment reform, we've had to bring on a new electronic health record, and we're having really profound, substantial challenges with claiming and billing for our services. And so just we have all hands on deck working on that, but it's been really hard to kind of right our ship, so to speak, and get ourselves really doing the work in a way that is leveraging every single possible bill and resource and income funding that we can. And part of it is because it's a new system and there are problems in it and there's staff training and all sorts of things, but we're working really hard on that, and that is continuing to be impactful for us with our budget. So I just want to flag that because it's something that we talk about all the time. We're also looking, over time at staffing and contracts and big and little things that we can address for cost savings and trying to kind of do better providing the service and yet still provide the services. And I think that can be really a conundrum sometimes because we don't get a ton of income just for providing services. We will have to work really hard to provide the services that are mandated. And sometimes that really puts us in a position of not being able to do extra things that aren't automatically funded, yet those extra things are really important for the community. And so we struggle with that. And I think it's important to continue to speak about that with this board. And one example of that, and this will segue into the next agenda item, but is AOT, assisted outpatient treatment. So that was something that was funded through county general fund and through the budget deficit and the county deficit. There was a decision made not to continue funding it. And so at the last board meeting, the board did a resolution opting us out of AOT going forward. And so that service will be sunsetting, and what our plan right now is to use some carryover funding that we have through the end of this calendar year to really ensure that we're linking all individuals who are getting that service to appropriate supports and continued support as they need it. And that's a big deal because that was something that the county our community really wanted. So Jack and I are actually working on some messaging, so that will be coming out more broadly to others so that people can kind of hear just the clear detail about it and have it, really kind of marked as something that's happening more formally as opposed to just word of mouth. But I wanted to speak to it here because I think it's important for you all to have that information too as we get questions or concerns that get lifted up. And I think that might be all. And I'm open to questions if anyone has any, but those are kind of the headlines I can think of for today.
I just want to say thank you for the work you're doing. And as you talk about, I think I've shared as well how incredibly challenging this is. And thank you. Thank you for your work. All I want to say is.
Any questions? Anybody online? All right, Jack, you're up.
I'd probably leave it there, punctuated by what Emily said. I think we'll work to transition clients to behavioral health programs wherever that's appropriate for them. So we'll continue to monitor and watch those individuals and make sure they're doing as good as they can.
Anything else you want to tell us about, Jack? Any other programs?
Yeah, so the crisis residential, everybody's talked about that. We're very excited. It's been a lot of work on that. So. Very happy.
Is this gonna ease up your job load when it's done?
So, I think the biggest impact is gonna be with simple RNs and the ER. So those are the two main referral sources for crisis residential. But I think it helps us, as folks step from crisis residential to outpatient programs, right? I think that'll be a real nice, a lot of time to work with folks and, get them linked up with whoever their case manager might be or whoever psychiatrist or therapist might be, so I think I'll see it on that end in terms of a better referral flow.
Good.
Thanks. SUD committee update. We pretty much did it already, but.
Yeah, I think you really led it last time, but it seems like there was a little bit of follow-up at the last meeting about making sure that people who fall off Medi-Cal are getting back on so that they can have services. And our committee said that we'd really like to get that information out to all the SUD providers locally because some of them have like navigators, and so they're very well equipped to, and then they're on the committee all the time and on. But smaller programs may not know about all that, so I think that's something that our committee's still kind of committed to do, is to get more of the SUD population and providers to understand how to do that renewal of Medi-Cal. And then I think that Raphael, who's online there somewhere, he talked about what's happening in his end of the world. And there's so many different people now on the committee and then the meetings are only 1 hour long, that each meeting, there's quite a bit of time just on catch up for what's happening with you and what's happening with you. So I think maybe we'll coalesce a little bit more in the future. And I do think, did Raphael agree to be the chair now? Raphael, did you agree to be the chair? Are you there?
I don't know. I mean, I certainly will be available to assist. I just don't know if I can take on any more responsibilities without contacting leadership first.
Great, I'll help you with that.
That's a sort of yes. And a sort of no, but okay. I'll help too once I know more and get more caught up.
All right.
I just wanted to say, Marguerite, I am so glad that you come back to be a part of the board. You bring a level of commitment and expertise that we didn't have, and a willingness to help take some leadership. So I am really glad that you're back with us.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I was reading the board, the handbook that we got, and I was happy to see the parts about the substance abuse, but I also have to say that there's a whole lot of that manual that still needs a little bit of revision.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's many, many parts of it that just say mental health board, mental health board, mental health board, not behavioral health board. So we need to kind of get that caught up when we can.
It's time.
Reality isn't always the same as what's written down.
Laurel's been doing so much good work on that, soon to be digital, yay. We'll have to do our part. There's no other committees to report at this time. I don't really have anything, Vice Chair.
I just have two things. This morning, two things happened to me. I was reading online a magazine called Bipolar Hope. And there was a really great article on hypomania and understanding mania, hypomania, and acute mania. And it takes a while to begin to understand that, but they are mental health disorders at different times. When I help run support groups for NAMI, well, what's the diagnosis? And often you're a child or something like that, bipolar. Want to sit down, well, what do you really mean by that? And by saying this, I really urge everybody on the board to read more books. Because we are, now what we deal with is acute, and we need to be aware of that as well. But if we're doing a good job with the acute, then they go to moderate and they go to other services. So I just urge us all to be educated on this. I'm not sick and I don't need help. It's an excellent book on mental illness. If somebody, I don't need help. this guy's been working with it. It's an excellent book. And there are others. So I just want to urge us all to keep learning about mental health and substance abuse disorders. So the other thing this morning, I was reading the Los Angeles Times. I was raised there. And so I follow all that they're doing with homelessness, behavioral health. One of the largest behavioral health facilities in the country is the Los Angeles jail.
Yes.
You know, many of you already kind of know that, but this morning, the Board of Supervisors put before the county a referendum on raising sales tax. They have a 1/4 of a penny sales tax, and they want to go to 1/2. Okay, and that will raise them about $1.2 billion. You know, and they sell a lot of expensive things, you know, in Los Angeles, but they're behind. I guess it's one of the things that there's no way we can do what we need to do, want to do without taxes. And I don't know anyone who wants to pay more taxes. Zero. But we ain't gonna get anything done. And so I think just as citizens, and as people on this board, that's part of the reality we need to face. And it is a challenge for Americans, you know, there's a willingness to say, I want to pay more taxes for something, you know, you're not gonna get, there's no politician that gets more votes by saying that, you know. But, and that's the reality. Those are the two things I wanted to share this morning. How relevant they are, Laura.
Thanks. That's right. One thing I want to say is I'm excited for your strategic planning because we really want to help follow that and support educating the community, ourselves, and the world at large. Yep, that's it. Unfinished business, navigation center. I don't know that we have anything new on that. Care court. Anybody? Updates? Sure.
Hi.
Hi, yay.
Hi, I just wanted to give a quick update. I sent a flyer over to Joe to distribute to the group that I hope is useful to you. It has links on Care Court resources that the state is putting out, including NAMI is putting out a really good resource for people, Judicial Council, of course, the DSS. There's a number of different resources that are out there to learn more about Care Court, largely, as you know, each county is figuring out their implementation. But these are the resources that we're looking at. So I wanted to share them with all of you so you could also go there and look. And I highly recommend some of their trainings that they have there, the videos. They're really helpful. Also included in that is a resource to the Prop 1 website. The state is putting out a website where they're going to have everything Prop 1 related. And the link is in this flyer that you'll get after the meeting. It doesn't have a whole heck of a lot on it right now because they're still figuring things out with Prop 1, but this is where you're going to go to take a look of that. And that's tied in very closely with Care Court because that's the population that they're seeing utilizing an awful lot of the housing. So those things are tied together. And then the last thing in that flyer is just a note. The Supreme Court today threw out the Purdue Pharmaceutical opioid settlement agreement. They tossed it out. So that's a huge deal. It should not affect any other settlement agreements like the Janssen agreement, other settlement agreements. It shouldn't touch that. But it is still, it's big news. They'll have to start back at the beginning and try to figure this out. But I just wanted to mention that because that does have to do, of course, with the opioid settlement dollars and stuff for anybody who's watching that. But hopefully that's helpful to you. And again, as I've said, if you have any questions, please send them my way. I just don't promise any answers, but the questions are really helpful to me and they help identify, you know, areas of gaps in my own information if I don't know the answer. So I always appreciate that.
Thanks, Sharon. That's a great one. I love that. I'm gonna use that. Have any questions? Send them my way. No guarantees you'll get an answer. Love it. Thank you so much, Sharon, for keeping us updated. Any future items?
I have a question. On this board, do people routinely visit service providers. I asked that because, as you know, when I was the head of Sacramento County Alcohol and Drug, we required that of all of our board members, that they see at least 2 providers a year and go see what they did, either in alcohol and drug or in mental health. But I didn't see anything like that in our bylaws, and I really think there's a tremendous value, as I'm just re-educating myself, it's been a tremendous value, but there's really a big value to actually go to the Hope Center or to, well, St. Byron's is kind of hard to go to, but at least, you know, without emphasizing or interrupting any services going on, but, you know, it's really important to understand what's concretely happening at places. So, you know, I'm not gonna make people mad by saying, let's have a new requirement for the board, but let me at least suggest that people try to make connections with parts of services that they don't know much about. And, you know, because a couple of years ago, Eric and I went over to Tay when it was in a very different place and really learned a lot. And, you know, I think that's a really good thing to do as a board member.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I interact with so many of our
Yeah,
providers.
those of you who have jobs where you can do it, but, you know, many of us don't, you know.
Right, but it is an important part of educating ourselves, and, you know, if you've interacted just because of in one little area, yeah, it's a good thing. So maybe we can toss that around in the executive committee.
Or at least, like, I'd be interested if any of you are gonna go visit a program, tell me when you're going and I'll join you, or, you know, I'll tell you when I'm going to something, and, you know, we may not wanna make it a rule like it was in Sacramento, but,
I remember Tim working really hard to have to visit what we're doing in the jail, you know? And it ended up only being 2 of us, maybe because 2 of us don't have full-time jobs, but, it was.
I went there with him too.
Yeah, it was a great thing, and so we can organize those, you know? You should give it a try on things that are important to us.
Thank you, Marguerite.
Yeah. Give us more work to do. Yeah.
Yes. Any other future items? That,
Can I make an announcement?
Oh.
Ferndale Pride is this Sunday for people who wanna, you know, show up and support.
What is this Sunday?
The Ferndale Pride Parade
Oh,
this
okay.
Sunday, and it is at, I wanna say it's at noon, but let me double check that. I have to be there at 11:30 in my calendar, but I think it's actually at noon. I just like to force myself to get there a little early when I can. For those who wanna, you know, just support community stuff. Thank you.
without further ado, at 13:42, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
For all your work.
Some time ago, right together.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm looking at July 1 or 2, and I'm pretty open. I'm retired. You are too, right? Not